How's everybody doing? Hello. Happy Wednesday. All right. Let's see. What are we talking about today? We are talking about how I present my designs to clients. Now, y'all, this might be a little, see, what am I trying to say? Might have been a little bit misleading because I'm not talking about, my PowerPoint or Canva presentation. This is the whole process of walking the client through the vision and getting their feedback and then presenting the final design presentation. So we'll wait for a couple more people to get here. Let's see, let me check. Oh, darn it. Where's the chat? Where's the chat? Let's go to the chat. Okay. Take a sip. Love this. Take a sip and sign the check. Yes, Leslie, that is so true. We should probably figure out how to work that in. Hallie, that could be fun. Like in some of our social media or our launches or something, to be able to go ahead and just say, take a sip and sign the check.
Will you dance with it when we do it? I'm here for
I
that.
don't want to make people sick online. I don't want to make people sick. I don't mind making myself look like a fool, but the rest of it is a little different. Or looking a little foolish. Let me rephrase that. So thanks everybody for being here. I'm excited to see you. I see a couple of bakers on here. So hello, ladies. It's good to see you. All right, let's go ahead and dig in. If you guys are new around here, let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Michelle Lynn, and I am the owner of the interior design firm ML Interiors Group. We are based out of Dallas, Texas, and been in business, gosh, since 2008. It has gone through quite an evolution. If you've been around for a while, you know that I didn't have the confidence to start this business as a design firm. I actually started as a home stager and redesign and organizing. So we've come a long way. In 2013, we took a really hard pivot and dove into interior design, decorating. Just the market kind of dictated that. And I have fallen on my booty multiple times and promised myself that when I figured out how to run a profitable interior design firm, it was not only profitable, but that I could still be passionate about because I didn't have the burnout, that I would teach other women how to do that. So in 2018, it was June of 2018 when my daughter was born in Detroit, Michigan. For those of you who don't know, she's adopted. My husband and I went to Michigan. We were there for about a month. And I was calling my team back at ML Interiors Group and asking how things were going. And they I haven't heard from you guys. Did the building burn down? And they said no, they're just following our processes, and things have been great. That was when this adventure was born. So not only was Genevieve born, my feisty little spicy 6-year-old, but also this adventure of teaching other women how to elevate their business and elevate their confidence and elevate their bank account and their sanity as well. So I have been featured in Forbes, Southern Living, Modern Luxury, Apartment Therapy, just a handful of publications, and I am a trusted advisor to small business owners in interior design. So you can follow me on Instagram at Design for the Creative Mind. Send me a message to say hello. I actually do respond to the messages. Not always timely, admittedly, but definitely better than my inbox. So Hallie can attest to that. So let me understand who we have in our audience today. Tell me where you're from and how long you've been in business. If you're new to business, let me know. Hey, Rifki, I see you. Hello. It's good to see you. And Monet, it's good to see you too. I love seeing faces. Katie, hello. Oh, Rifki turns off her camera. She's like, can't say I blame you, girl. But with that, y'all tell me where you are,
ले लूं कि चाहिए
how long you've been in business. If you're new to business, let me know that too. We've got Birmingham, UK. Hello. Business for 11 years. Bevon is in Connecticut for 9 years. Fantastic. Hey, Charlotte, good to see ya. Opened your business last July. That's right. We're coming up on a year. All right. Good, good, good. All right. 3 years. Good. Thanks, guys. This just kind of gives me an understanding who we're talking to. Dallas, 10 years on your own. Amy, Bay Area, hello. Hey, Miranda, good to see you too. We've got like I said, we've got a handful of bakers here. Yay. If you're not sure what I'm talking about in regards to bakers, it's my signature paid program. It's called the Interior Design Business Bakery. So our members have become just bakers by design. New baker in business. Hey, Leslie, it's good to see you. Hello. Yes, congratulations. You did just recently invest in yourself. Yay. Oh, Miranda, you're so sweet. Yeah, I think it's just important that we're all keeping ourselves fresh. So let's talk about this. Oh, Julie, we've got another Dallas area person, custom cabinetry for 20 years, branching out with a cabinet render design service separate from your cabinetry. Oh, rock on. Congratulations. We need to get together. We need to connect. Let's dig in. Here's my thoughts. The problem with traditional presentations is that you sign the contract, you get some information from the client, and then you work on the design and you present it to the client, right? So you present it to the client and they might say, okay, well, I need to think about this, or they make it 25 revisions, okay? Or they could be tiny details. Okay, they could be tiny details. Or they make revision after revision, and soon the entire design is like not even what you presented, and it's just taken on a wheel of its own. So, or the client is trying to negotiate and find cheaper pieces or anything like this. I know that this has happened to me back in the day, and I know it happens to y'all on a regular basis. Maybe not all of you, but to many of you, because this is what a lot of our bakers come into our program with. And it's not your design. Honestly, it is not your design. It's probably a beautiful design. I know ours were, okay, but it's actually your process. So that's what we want to talk about today. It's the process that leads up to your design presentation, and then of course the actual design presentation. Your process will set you up as the expert, and it helps your client trust you and have the confidence in you. It helps you along the way because you're not trying to read their mind. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to start with the end in mind. And I believe that even might be one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, is begin with the end in mind. So just like you're going to set up your business, hopefully with the end in mind, but it's the same thing with your design process. You want to take the client on this journey with you. It's not like HGTV where you get some information, you sit down, you go to commercial, and then you come back with this design that they love. Okay, we all know that HGTV is not realistic. So here's the process that we utilize at ML Interiors Group and in the Interior Design Business Bakery, what I teach. This is just the high level version of it. Okay, if you're in the bakery, you get more in depth, but this is going to give you enough to be dangerous. First, you set the foundation. Okay, this is where we are interviewing the clients. Oftentimes we go, once the contract is signed, we go back and we take some measurements, and we're starting to share some ideas. It's collaborating, and all decision makers are present. And then you go through this process. And okay, so let me just give a disclaimer. For those of you who are here or are listening to the replay that are in the Interior Design Business Bakery, just know that this is consolidated, and you can find this information in module 4 in much more detail. Okay, So don't let it confuse you when I'm going top down and consolidating some of these meetings. Okay. So you want to go ahead and you're going to have this collaboration meeting, and you're going to want to set the budget at that point before you even start designing. So budget or investment, whatever you want to call it, the purchases, that needs to be discussed as you're leading up to the contract. In your scope of work presentation, you're sharing with them what an estimated budget is going to be. But what you want to do is you want to go ahead and get that budget signed off on before you start designing. You want to discuss overall goals, the functionality needs, and their initial likes and dislikes. Okay. At that point, you're also going to be sharing with them, hey, here's the spend. I need you to sign off on this. So you have your guidelines of where you are going to shop. Does that make sense? Where are you going to source these items from? Do they have a budget for, so for baker, for I'm drawing complete blanks. So you're just going to know the vendors based on the price point, okay? Are you going to go for some of the higher end bakers, some of the friendly bakers, the higher end vendors, or are you going to go for some of the friendlier ones, or are you going to go for some of the ones that you know are probably lower cost? So in that respect, you're going to be saving yourself time hunting for a high-end lamp if they're willing to pay for a high-end lamp or a sofa or whatever the case may be. It gives you an anchor to the rest of your process. Does that make sense? Let me hear from you guys in the chat. Does that make sense in regards to the fact that you do, if you know what the budget is, you know where you're going to shop. It's just like for yourself. If you know that your budget is $1,000 for a pair of shoes, you know where you're going to shop. But if your budget is $100 for a pair of shoes, you're not going to be shopping at the same place. Thank you, Charlotte, for that. So if that makes sense to you guys, rock on. Do you have a questionnaire, maybe Pinterest, where you have an idea so they have an idea of what they like? So Andrea, that's a great question. We send a questionnaire. I'm not sure if you were in our training a couple weeks ago, but we do send an extensive questionnaire in between our virtual meet and greet and our initial visit. So we do understand like where they're shopping, and we get a jumping off point from that as well. And that goes into a lot of detail. So this is part of that interview process. We can do Pinterest or Instagram or whatever. This is where you are having that conversation. But it's also the inspiration and direction is in this next step as well. So you might even reverse them. You might do your discovery and then find out what they like and dial that in, and then go into setting the budget by piece. So you want to start with general concepts and style inspiration. So that's what you're talking about, so that they can understand the vision that you're bringing. And then you're going to say, I mean, for example, like back in the day when open shelving in the kitchen wasn't all that prevalent, we were telling a client, hey, we could do open shelving over here and we could do this, just as we were spitballing some ideas, and they had no idea what we were talking about. So then that's when you're showing them, here's what open shelving looks like. This is what I'm talking about. Or, hey, I want to put some mesh in front of the shelves for your bar, or whatever the case may be. You can share ideas with them. And then you can set the budget. So then you're also, as you're going through this process, so let's just say you get the general concepts, and then you get the budget, and then you can go through and you can narrow specific choices into this or that meeting. And what I mean by this or that is, we recently had a client who they said specifically, we want a sectional, and we love this style of giant coffee table. Well, y'all know you can't have both, right? Like you can barely get up and get around a sectional, or at least in this room, like you couldn't have a sectional and a giant coffee table. So we shared with them, do you want this sectional and layout, or do you want that table without a sectional? So it's truly a this or that, or it could even be Do you like this dining table or that dining table? So we're narrowing it down. And in all reality, what we do is we take that selection and we plug that into the design, knowing that they like it. So the goal is to get clarity on their preferences before you invest hours and hours and hours into a full plan. And what you're doing is you're involving the client just enough that they feel heard. Okay, they feel like you're really taking their wishes in mind, but you're not going to worry about them taking it over. But you're also not trying to read their mind and figure out what they really do like when they say, I kind of like that picture, but I don't know what I don't like about it. Okay, so you're just extracting, you're like a detective, you're extracting clues from them. And then what you want to do as well is, and I see some questions coming over here. Let's see, thought we only give them one option. Okay, so Monet, that's what I mean. So that was my disclaimer. Oh, speaking of which, Monet, you might not have gotten the update in the bakery. We have it. With this is a fairly new process to us. We still only give them one option. We still only give them one option. This is in the interview process. So Monet was a baker. I think you've graduated. I'm pretty sure you have. So Hallie can get you the updates. It's in the key ingredients that you have access to. So you can go back into the content. So yes, we'll speak to Hallie. Awesome. So that's the beauty of being a baker, is that as we use ML Interiors Group as a laboratory, the bakers go through and get the updates. So yes, we have streamlined and improved this. Okay, so you're going through the process, you're interviewing them, you bring them into this or that meeting, you're helping them, they are helping you narrow down the design that you know they're gonna like. Okay, you know that they like that piece. And then what you're going to be doing is a few weeks before the final design presentation, give them a preview. Okay, give them a nearly finished concept. And basically what you're doing is you're giving them like buy-in before the big reveal. And I was hesitant to do this because I thought, well, why am I giving them a preview and then 2 weeks later giving them the full-blown design, because it's basically the same thing, but it's not. Here's where they have the opportunity. It's like a sneak peek to build the excitement, but it's also along the lines of, does anything feel off? Does this feel like you? Does this feel like a place that you would call home, and things along that line? Because what you're doing is you're getting them to pre-approve, but you're also like, we'll tell them this is the last time you have the opportunity to make revisions without there being a fee attached to it. So then you get to the final presentation and you can just like strut in there because you know that they've seen the big decision pieces. Okay, the stuff that can that can just derail your design if they start changing one or two things, because then there's the design domino effect. Right? How many of you guys have had a client say, okay, it's like, here's an example that we had at ML Interiors Group. True story. We went through, here's the client with their budget, right? They said, this is our absolute positively can't go over this amount budget. And it was reasonable. Okay, but you make selections to back into that. Like the design has to be their style, to meet the timeline with their availability. We have to back into the budget, all the things. And so here we are, we're juggling this. And so we give them the design and they say, you know what, this is beautiful, but I really don't like those side tables. And we had chosen the side tables specifically for this design. And they said, well, we don't like it, and gave us the reason why. They basically said that they looked like her brother's, or they reminded of her brother's side tables, and she wanted something that was more unique. And so basically we said, well, these side tables, the reason why we chose them is because of the base, the placement, because we can place these side tables off of the rug. So the rug itself is an 8 by 10 instead of a 9 by 12, because the 8 by 10 and these particular side tables allowed us to back into all of your requirements. And if we change that, we're most likely, based on all the other options that we looked at, we're gonna have to increase the size of the rug to a 9 by 12, and your side tables are probably gonna go up in price. So that means your overall budget is gonna go up. So it's that design domino effect. They changed the side tables, but that's also gonna change the size of the rug so that we can put the entire side table on it. Does that make sense to you guys, like from a design standpoint? How there's a design domino effect? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, okay, Cami, thank you. Yeah. So with that, oftentimes our clients don't realize that. So that's why we are wanting to express and explain over the course of the process. Awesome, Rich. Thank you, Charlotte. Awesome. Okay. It makes sense to us as designers. It makes sense to us. These are things you have to educate your client with. So when you walk into that final presentation, just a reminder, you want to continue creating an experience with this meeting. You want to have food, you want to have drinks, you want to have flowers, you want to have all the samples that you can have that represents their selections. So they've seen the direction, they've weighed in. Okay, so maybe they told me in the preview meeting or in the this or that meeting that what they liked and what they didn't like. So I've done those updates and brought this to the final design presentation. So I present it like it's done because it mostly is, right? So at this point, in my experience, there are few, if any, surprises. There might be a couple things like they don't like the pillow fabric or whatever, but even then they've probably seen like the hero pillow fabric. Like, you know what I mean by the hero? I mean, like, this is where we're jumping off. This is what the design fabric is inspired by. And I kid you not that we've had multiple multi-room designs that have had 0 revisions because we've led them through this process. So in fact, one of our bakers, Lindsay, gosh, this was probably I don't know, not so long ago. She came into the interior design business bakery and she was feeling like she was stuck on this hamster wheel, right? Endless revisions and second guessing clients. They were just, that post presentation pivot, like, oh, well, I kind of don't like this or I like that or just whatever. So her biggest aha is when she added the preview meeting. And before that, she'd like go all in on this big reveal. And I get it. This is what we used to do. And we'd have our fingers crossed. And so she was just so frustrated. She's like, Michelle, I just keep getting hit with we need to think about it, or it's okay. And I just want them to love this. So once she started teasing the design with this curated preview and the this or that, and the does this feel like your home? Her clients have started leaning in instead of just standing or maybe even backing away. So one client, she told me, even said you made it feel like it was our idea all along. So it's like, boom, you've got this buy-in achieved. You've got revisions slashed. So you've got this fast path to yes, and you can start ordering the furniture, start getting this, you start getting your margins, your cash flow, and then you're on to soliciting or starting the next project. So Lindsay, hold on, I've got a quote from her. It says, let's see, where am I? Pulled this up earlier. That one step changed everything. It's like pre-selling the design to their emotions, so the final presentation becomes a celebration and not a negotiation. Okay, and again, like I said, to the bakers who are here on the call, this is top level. Don't take this as gospel. We go into more detail in the bakery. Okay, but if this kind of confidence sounds like something that you're craving in your own process, this framework is the best step. So yeah, Cami, when you're giving clients a huge presentation, it's too big to focus on. So if you can break it down and familiarize them with it a little bit, through these very specific and orderly steps, it's a game changer because you're not just presenting a design. Okay, you're building trust and decision-making momentum. Okay, you're setting expectations early. You've got their budget, you've got their choices. And the more decisions they can make before the final presentation, the smoother it goes. It's like, dude, you like we were together a month ago and you loved this dining room table. Now why don't you like it? Okay, you can remind them that they said, "Oh my God, it's gorgeous." So let's see. Mary, hey girl, good to see you. It's in module 4. Thank you, Hallie. It's in module 4. And it's an update. So I think Hallie, when I recorded this update, she dropped it in there as an update. So it is standalone. So Monet, would I do this for all rooms at once or split it up? It depends on how we are delivering the design. If we're delivering the design as an entire home, then yeah, I would do it all at once. It's going to take longer, but it's just front loading. If the design presentation or delivery is in phases, then I would do it in phases. So yeah, does the program, Patra, tips on how to work with trades? Yes. We do have, I have a Rolodex of resources, which are reliable vendors that I love. Contractors, it depends on where you're located. I've got some that I can give you directly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I don't have contractors nationwide. I don't want to work that hard and travel. So, if you have any questions though, happy to hop on a call with anybody about the bakery. So let's see here, wrap up, Q&A. What is one meeting that you could add to your process to reduce revisions? Okay, and where would you put this into your own workflow? Okay, bakers, this comes in module 4, so they're calling now it's the 16 steps of sanity. But for you guys, for those of you who are solopreneur out there, just patching things together, making it work, where would you add this to your process to reduce your own revisions? Let me know. Okay, not everybody at once. Not everybody at once. After the budget sign off. Thank you, Cami. Good, 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 good. So yes, after the budget sign off, and just for the record, y'all, you do not have to put together a specific, yes, it's part of research. So Mary, so research is a lot of the sales process, but then the research and the development phases cross over and kind of merge into each other, the research and the development. So you're still researching some of their likes as you're developing the design. So it's kind of like that baton handoff right there. So exactly right. And again, the budget, you're going to give them the preliminary budget before they sign the contract so they know what they're getting into. Your design fee is already set. And then here's a basic understanding of the budget. And then what you also want to do is then you dial in the budget to the specifics after you have that money in hand. So y'all, just a couple of really cool things. One is that I have an amazing fun surprise coming down the pipeline that was going to be fully announced on Mother's Day. That Hallie and I are just like working like crazy on in the background. I cannot wait to share it with you guys, both past bakers, present bakers, future bakers, never going to be a baker. All of you guys, I think, are going to be super pumped about this. And then if you guys are curious at all about how we can work together, happy to hop on a call, either Hallie or I, to answer your questions. We have a variety of different types of ways that we can work together, with the interior design business bakery being our signature program, which is 12 months of the entire recipe to get your business 5 years into the future. And yeah, you can email Hallie. The week before peer reviews, a new idea. Yes, 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 yes. Charlotte, give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. I highly recommend. And you know what I would love, y'all, is as you're trying things as you're trying things that we roll out in some of these live free little training sessions, tag me in the Facebook group in the Interior Design Business Launchpad, or DM me, or even tag me, like reply on one of my Design for the Creative Mind Instagram posts or anything like that. So I want that interaction. It's not just me sitting here talking to you. I love hearing your success. Like, or just that fun bit of confidence that you have. So please, like, that engagement is gold. I love it. I'm in my own DMs, and would love to hear from you. So thank you, Hallie, for dropping the links in there. I'm not sure if you dropped the link for the questionnaire in there, since we had a question about that. Cami, initial discovery meeting, questionnaire, scope of work agreement. Okay, so let's go through this. Yes, those are, those, you can mix those up in regards to what order makes sense for you in your mind, but basically what we do is, the budget and the agreement is first. Okay, so the budget and the agreement are first. For those of you who are in the key ingredients and the bakery, it's in module 4, and you can just go directly through that. So you're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you very much. How's, what are we talking about next week?
We're going to talk about when the project goes off the rails.
Oh my God. I've got PTSD, y'all. I am not kidding you. I just had a client who snuck past all of the walls and the firewalls and the barriers that we have in place that I teach. They still sneak through every once in a while, y'all. She is, or actually, I think one of her personalities is exactly who hired us. And then her other personality came out. So back in the day, there was a book and a movie called Sybil. I think that's who hired us. I'm not going to get into that because I'm enjoying my week. We will get into it next week and how to deal with it. So thank you guys for being here. If you're not listening to the podcast, I had a badass season of marketing that I just wrapped up, and we're going into another season coming up. In fact, I need to record one today. And it is, what are we doing? We are doing rookie mistakes and real talk. Like, here's the mistake and here's the difficult conversation that you have with your client. So we make mistakes. It happens. But how you deal with it is going to be really a key to your sanity and to your reputation and to your return clients and all the fun stuff like that. So thanks for being here. We will see you again next week.